And now I'd like to introduce to you somebody who doesn't need any introduction, except that you might not recognize him because he's wearing a suit. But let me introduce you to Joëla Schatz.
The reason I'm wearing a suit is because we're interviewing people today for some jobs that we're hiring for, and I thought it would be useful to ease the shock of the true reality of the San Francisco-Moscow teleport. When Diane and I issued an invitation to Joseph in July of this year to travel to the United States, I must confess we had difficulty imagining that he would really be here in San Francisco, sort of like an ultimate fixture in Moscow, and many of you who are in the room realize the value he's been to so many people in introducing us to the right folks over there and helping us navigate through the bureaucracy or around the bureaucracy when impossible requirements had to be met. But Monday evening at San Francisco Airport, when the plane landed, it was Halloween evening, Joseph came off the airplane with 2 balloons floating from under his beard, a whip, 5 loaves of French bread, and a big witch's broomstick. Whereupon we put him in the car and drove him straight to the Castro for his first view of the United States. He described San Francisco to us yesterday as one giant dacha. And 2 days ago, he sent a message to Moscow to the Ministry of Defense requisitioning an SS-20 truck to be delivered to Fort Mason. It is truly impossible to introduce a force of nature, especially a Russian force of nature. And so Joseph will, I hope in the next, half hour or so, give you a concise summary of what's brought him to California, what he's planning to do. And also Simon Furman, who's over here, may also take a few minutes to explain some of the corporate structuring that is necessary to surround this vision with the right kind of wherewithal to make it all happen. And it's just an absolute delight, hard for me to believe, that I can stand here looking at you here in this room, Joseph, to introduce you, considering all these exchanges we've had, and we brought you in electronically for years. So it's the most appropriate setting to introduce you to this great crowd of friends. Joseph.
Let me start with a small gift I brought here. It's a book just published in the USSR, Russian Seasons in Paris. It's a history how Russian artists and dancers were performing in Paris for 20 years, from 1909 until 1929. It's a kind of a cultural invasion in the West. Somebody carefully collected all these beautiful things. You'll look it through later. But it's also a manifestation that historical memory is returning to our culture. And we now not divide us before and after. It's a non-stop effort to introduce Russian culture to the West. And also make it possible to the West to believe that without even threat, my country can be interesting for you to do something together. So I want to understand that I arrived here into this very prestigious place with such an exclusive collection of people here to explain only in the context of the cultural event I'm here, which have political, technical, social, and even psychological consequences. But main message is about culture. And if we will have resources in culture to make a major influence on the events in the outside world, then we have a meaning. Otherwise, it's just have a good time in San Francisco, and it's wasting of my time. It's a great city, no doubt, and I've been to London and Paris right now. Before I was in Italy and Greece in 1 year. And I arrived in America because I know Europe is great, but too small for global projects. So this is the place from where we can coordinate very simple thing, global party. Everything will be like here, music, food, high tech, and nothing else. It's just global party. And if regularly we'll make a global party for humanity, all the rest will be easy to solve. Hunger, energy, ecology, whatever. We need to launch global party system. And San Francisco is a great place to make people believe it's necessary. So let me start to show you a few episodes how we made a rehearsal of the global party in Moscow. First of all, it's not my idea. I'm just a member of a larger team, and I'm very happy that you always mention me as an important member of the game, but believe me, time has come to share responsibility for these consequences. For instance, traveling theaters in Europe, and it's about 10 traveling theaters in Europe, they call themselves Last Savages of Europe, have decided to join forces and travel around Europe. It takes place from May through October next year. They already have invitations from major cities in Europe, like Paris, like Amsterdam, Barcelona, Moscow, and Leningrad, who are also great European cities. And I invited clowns to use my trucks. It's my trucks because I always was possessed with the idea of movable space bridges, to use as a theater prop, to make a movable stage of trucks. The commissioned trucks, it's not yet planned by our planning society to use somewhere else. They're free. Chairman of Cultural Foundation, 82 years old academician, addressed to foreign minister, and he said, go ahead, use them. The rest is just technical problem, how to find resources, convince authorities, create script, and do this business. We've done it, no problem. Ed, may you switch on 5 minutes episode? It's on the Red Square, on the St. Basil, on the day of Moscow celebration, 11th of September, it's 841st anniversary, truck arrived with flowers, clowns mounted on the truck, and they started to make performance. It's in Russian, it has no special meaning. Major film crew did the film, but it's just my footnotes of a sort of amateur footnotes, because the major film we are developing. About 22 artists we invited from Europe taking part in this forthcoming caravan. So this is one of a Soviet team together with foreign artists making performance. It's a very popular group from Leningrad, Lycidae. The main concept of these clowns to perform was a quarrel between US and USSR. So clowns represent different kind of claims against each other. You remember! And you see what happens after that. It's not necessarily, it should be clear from the very beginning. You wait for a few minutes. You'll make it clearer and clearer what's going on around, believe me. Wait a little bit. Wait a little bit. If I'll invite Joel Schatz or Simon Furman, who witnessed this event, they will be full of emotions. It's sort of a transform their possibilities, but high-tech of this level cannot speak to you. I just want to show you how dead television is. They cannot speak. That's why we're insisting on two-way communications. For instance, a question of Michael Murphy, what it is about, it should be addressed not to me, but to them. And they should answer him right now. Here. And it's possible. And Screenby should be not this small thing, but 200 square meter thing. And it's possible, it's as real as a rocket, as atomic bomb. But for some unknown reasons, we're producing rockets instead of huge screens. And this is what puzzles me. Because nobody knows why we should produce screens. Because one rocket and one warhead makes 2 billion victims. One screen and one satellite makes 2 billion viewers. So the main challenge, what to show to each other. Let's start with the party. So they're fighting with each other. We'll see the result of their fighting and then I'll continue. This writing represents the Westerner. This one represents the Russian. It's your flag. It's our flag. So remembering bad memories about our connections for the last 10 years, they're breaking plates. When they broke in about 1,000 plates, somebody said, aha, I understand, it's about kitchen scandal. But not before they broke in 1,000 plates. It became clear it's about kitchen scandal. They call themselves Mir Caravan or Peace Caravan. Former SS-12 truck, and you see how they transform it's a place to live and travel through Europe. They're spreading candies, throwing candies to the crowd. And this is a SS-12 truck. SS-12, this is smaller one. Because S-22 is too huge. So this is New Movable Home. It's a performance in Leningrad of another theater from Holland, so-called surrealistic dance theater. They're performing in Leningrad. But there's a better plate. Ed, let's change it. So besides these clowns, this caravan consists of many theaters, many styles. I'll show to you a little bit more about next style. It's already a program of Leningrad TV who was aired both in Leningrad, from Leningrad to Moscow, to two major cities, who are the main partners from this community of European cities. This is a Japanese director, and on the left is a Soviet director. This is clowns, and he's European surrealistic dance. And Slava Polonia. It's a Leningrad TV making tour with us. It's Diana brought to me a special cap to be recognized by clowns. It's Leningrad, Petropavlovskaya Castle. So this is the Nevsky Prospect in Leningrad, and they started performance right on the Nevsky Prospect. It's theater from Amsterdam. It's a commentary of Leningrad TV behind. It's Kazansky Cathedral, and what was interesting, we have no any trouble with police or fire people because they recognize it's necessary. It's for the major film production, for some rehearsal, and we know any method. It's a regular life in the city. Passers-by, traffic, nothing were prevented. It was normal, and crowd created themselves normally. Can you imagine that 10 theaters of different styles, different traditions will invade the city and start simultaneously performances on major streets of San Francisco? One on Castro Street, another one on Fort Mason, somebody here, just performing daily for hours. Inviting people to participate, to make discussions and different kind of sharing. And they are going to invade cities during half a year. Having track and screen and dish to report about their performances, whatever anybody on the planet want to receive signal. Once again, I'm bringing suits for technology available to Henry Дейкина Institute. I mean, huge screens necessary. It was Leningrad, September, and weather reminds what's now in San Francisco. Now they were so excited, they came down to the metro and decided to perform right in the metro. And crowd are a little bit amazed, but nevertheless it's... So I think Halloween people will find something familiar. It's a regular life on metro station. No, no. Well, definitely. Everybody should take care about possible consequences. But metro people were open to make experiment live. I'm explaining that. Don't be afraid. It's their natural life. They're on the way to work on the square. They've decided to perform in metro. You can expect from savages everything. They're from Holland, also member of this caravan. That's 10 solid troops, but we expect that, like flies to the fire, everybody will arrive to perform. It's unpredictable consequences, but quality, what is important? High professional quality, high level. So this is, I think we can finish it. Yes, I do. It is a Leningrad TV program beamed simultaneously to Moscow, the program called Open Door. For instance, if we'll shoot something interesting here, they televise it immediately in Leningrad, and we can receive the signal from Gенri Deykin system because it will be beamed to Moscow simultaneously. We can arrange it from here within few days. We will tell that we witness your program, we have some ideas what to do, invite Halloween participants to perform and show them. I talked in England about perestroika. It's a Finhorn conference. It's the last episode.
Acceleration based on scientific and technological revolution. Which moves all of them? Because it was so obvious that countries stagnated, that people were looking how to help it, how to overcome those obvious things. Because over the border we have some other manifestation of existence. So time has come to make this courageous act of understanding, and well, it was done. So, glasnost and democracy and other ways of life, which frankly speaking never existed in the country and borrowed from traditions of other countries, is just instruments to make this acceleration. But this acceleration is not something there. I want to show now that all of us can feel a barrier against this pressure of options. Because during this week here, we can plan something which you hardly believe now. Then you better understand what's going on there back in Russia. The country is transforming.
Switch up. I was invited by Joëla Šac as a private visitor, and I have a very strange visa from American Embassy. They've written that I'm a private visitor to discuss telebridges and other communication issues. So on one side, I'm a totally private visitor. On the other side, I can talk about communication, whatever I want. Simultaneously, I was invited to Finhorn community. And I've decided to test myself because it was not easy just to come to America. It's one thing to do space bridges and other things. I was a professional sort of a animal living in a special structure. And I know how to do these things, and I have a more or less real things what I want to do. But not just to rush to America without being totally prepared. I felt I better go first to where I can live, it's to the community. Because it was a real life to me, community. My first development started from the time I met Michael and Jim and Mary and Krippner, who introduced me to excellent traditions, and I was sort of brought up by these exchanges. So another community known to me is Finhorn in Scotland. Do you know about it or not? Okay. So they have a conference called The Individual and the Collective, politics as if the whole earth mattered. They invited me to talk to them because Dan and Pierre introduced me to this community in Moscow in May this year, and I managed to fly first to England on the way to America because it's my choice how to go to America. And summing up my presence there, they supported this project on the front page of the domestic paper, choosing it the #1 of 25 proposed projects. This is why I came here not with empty hands. It's something which already discussed in Findhorn, where representatives of 15 countries, America included, where, for instance, John Mack from Harvard Medical School have decided to make a conference on consciousness research related to the subject he heard from me there, right now while I'm here in America. I'm also going to go to MIT, to Media Lab, and to discuss with them how they high-tech can support this mega vision. So I'm more or less prepared, and this is a short video message from my presentation in this Findhorn Foundation. They chose me to be fellow trustee on Findhorn Foundation and decided to do whatever necessary. They called up several times here in San Francisco and expecting sort of instructions what to do next. I'm addressing to you as another small community living on Sacramento Street, and it took a week for them to understand what's necessary to do. For instance, when they've seen this truck and clowns and traveling theaters and everything else, they realized that it's not a bad idea to participate in the Global Philharmonic Orchestra performance on 12th of December. I said, why don't you invite Soviet truckers as 12? We get a screen on the truck, you have a good time? Well, and they decided to how to bring this truck here. And next to the community there is an Air Force Royal Base supervising about anti-submarine activity in the Western Hemisphere. They have good relationships. And why don't they fly this truck right on the Royal Base and move it to you? It's natural. Okay, they said, let's do it. And after that, you invite officers and soldiers to enjoy classical music. On this level of commitment, we separated. A few minutes ago, Mark Graham brought to me facts from World Philharmonic Orchestra headquarters in Canada. It's not only approved what we are planning to do, but also give me the program, day-by-day rehearsals. So let me be a little bit more specific and explain as I did in Findhorn. It's your choice right now what to do. I practically finished my introduction. If we decide to start working, we'll decide on this party, and within 5 weeks, we'll make global party for the humanity with 2 billion participants. But it's our decision. Nobody else can do it. People in Findhorn, in Paris, in Moscow, in Leningrad, in Vienna, in other cities will be participating. But I discovered that only in the small communities we can develop special kind of relationships, will reinforce people's ability to make global thinking real. It's time to finish with the thinking globally and acting locally. It's a before perestroika thinking. We should start thinking and acting globally. And this is a major challenge. It's not easy because it breaks a lot of a very comfortable way of life we developed for ourselves for the last decade, and it's time to finish it. Because communities like Findhorn or Esselen were arranged not like scientific research centers. They were done as a real research in the human nature by waves of 60s. And academia will kill them, because academia is doing just what we gave to them. Vice President of Academy of Sciences of USSR doing what? Personal computers, he learned from space bridges, or kids' education, he learned from other. They have no any program invented by any academia. No academia can help us. We don't need their knowledge. We should have some more deep knowledge, not available for academia. And community, it's a way of life, which is more important than books and music and painting, traditional elements of culture. And I'll tell you why I'm talking about culture from the very beginning, about this initiative of the Russian dancers to come to Paris and enjoy together. In my country now, they started to use a concept of the humanitarian initiative. Nobody explained to us what does it mean. But politicians like Foreign Minister or former Ambassador de Bruyn talk about we need humanitarian initiatives. It's not books because it's literature. It's not film because it's cinematography. It's not painting because it's painting. It's not music because it's traditional piece of arts or culture. Humanitarian initiative is something else. And finally they recognize that we are doing something else, talking about when World Philharmonic Orchestra, it's 100 musicians from 60 countries collected together, but not only on one stage, but being united by musicians in 5 or 6 other countries, or 3 or 4 other continents, joining together in performance for planetary audience. Something done on a global scale. It's a challenge to every creative worker. And neither professional writers, filmmakers, artists, or musicians can do it by themselves. They are sort of blocked by traditions of their own skill and professions. They can use words, who's not any meaning now. They can impress you visually, but it still has no meaning. That's it. I told to Norman Mailer that Kingdom of Words is dead. And he sort of agreed with this. So humanitarian initiative bring us back to 1959 when C.P. Snow first announced in Cambridge there are existing 2 cultures, not 1, but 2. One is for scientists, another for humanitarians. And the major achievements of the 2 cultures, they created incredible bomb and means of transportation. The other culture created anti-utopia. Total criticism of everything, without any attempt to visualize something better. It's a natural response of one culture on existing another culture. And C.P. Snow warned us, if we will not find means to melt them together, to create new way of life and new communications and new education, we will kill the planet. So it's not politicians, it's not military people more threatful to us, but 2 cultures not talking to each other. High tech and high touch. And if we will manage to make global initiatives available for politicians, for planners, for business, for military people, they will grab it, utilize, and believe me, they will become progressive. And it's our challenge to give them story how to do it. Better not story, better example. And that's why this initiative is so critical right now. Let me quote a few words from Natasha Gibu, who is the managing director from Canada. Global Philharmonic Orchestra, World Philharmonic Orchestra, created by 2 people, a lawyer and a conductor from Paris. It's the 4th performance they created. First one was done in 1985 in Sweden, when they collected 100 musicians on one stage. Second in Brazil, 3rd time in Japan, now in Canada. Now, because I know them for a year already, they've decided to use choirs of the last movement of Beethoven the Ninth from San Francisco, from Geneva, and from Moscow. I bet if you make a poll in San Francisco, nobody knows that you are participating in the global event. It's a campus choir from San Mateo. But who cares? I arrived in San Francisco to organize the global concert and asked them, are you ready if I will make it Megavision type performance? They asked me, what do you mean? I will connect a couple of hundreds of places on the planet and about 20 or 50 huge screens simultaneously with a crowd singing together with professional choirs. They said to me it was the last wish of Beethoven when he written this Ode of Joy. Henry sent to them a message to specify where Beethoven did it, what was written, because Henry has a suspicion it was not about joy, but about freedom. It's almost the same meaning, but even in that time it was not easy to get joy of freedom. Ode of freedom. Probably it's true, I don't know, but it makes no big deal. It's about freedom of joy, it's the same. Joy of freedom. And they said to me, go ahead. More than that, we understood they gave us all authority to do it global event now, because nobody have an idea how to make population interested in the classical music. But imagine for a second that 200 years ago or 150 years ago, Beethoven made this musical piece, and he recognized as a genius, and he felt that this music should be shared simultaneously by the whole community of people on the planet. Why don't we trust Beethoven? Why don't we make small efforts to accomplish this vision as a reality? Why don't we try put culture, develop before us as our real instructions what to do? Not just listen to Beethoven, but continue his efforts and to be on the same level than he was when he written the music. Because then we will be creating not communications, not lectures,